Let's kick off today's discussion with your #1 headline heading to Kansas. What are you going to be watching?
Well, it really comes down to these 4 that are outside, and specifically 3 of them, and that is the Hendrick Motorsports drivers. If we click here on Alex Bowman, we're going to bring up their stats for Kansas earlier at May, and it really comes down to these 3. It's incredible that Hendrick Motorsports finds itself in this position. One of the powerhouse organizations of NASCAR finds itself maybe going out of this race completely eliminated from championship contention. And when I look at this, they obviously have great numbers at Kansas earlier this year. Alex Bowman was in contention to win that race. Chase Elliott scored a ton of stage points. Those are both great things, but I don't know if that's going to be enough for these drivers to get there. I think one of these 3 is possibly going to have to win this race to find themselves into the round of 8. And then there's William Byron, who's kind of the X factor in this, right? We've seen tremendous speed out of him.
A lot of momentum.
He's the new rocket man, winning poles left and right. There's a lot there, but we haven't seen him win a race. And in his position, I truly think he has to find a way to victory lane. So there is a tremendous amount of pressure on Hendrick Motorsports. And I think the thing, though, that when I look at this, it's kind of like the Hunger Games there. Only one of them is going to make it out of this. That's the way I look at it. And so I think it's going to be tremendous pressure on this organization going to this race.
I was going to ask you, as an organization, if one of them gets in or if they're shut out. But I'm going to save that maybe for the end of the show, so if you have some predictions. But again, these numbers are from the Kansas race earlier this year in May. And, yeah, you point out something really big there, Chase Elliott stage points. That's going to be huge.
Huge. I mean, that will, if there is misfortune, which we'll get into a little bit later in the show, that possibly opens up the door for using, or misfortune for some other drivers. That opens up the door when we look at Logano, Keselowski. That definitely opens the door for using stage points to their advantage. There's going to be no deterrent to stage points as long as you're not putting stage points ahead of getting the ultimate finish. Because I truly believe these 2 cars, Alex Bowman and Chase Elliott, are in a position where they know they possibly will have the speed. We've seen it earlier this year. We've seen it out of the Hendrick Motorsports cars, but they're going to have to win.
Hey, motorsports fans, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit subscribe before you go for all the latest news and highlights across motorsports.